In the middle of tremendous darkness and personal tragedy, false lights are trying to guide us, and they can bring shipwreck. We must be focused on God's pathways and His light in the storms of life. Christ is the light of navigation. Hello, and welcome to the Light of Navigation and this Reflections with Wisdom podcast. My name is Marguerite Lever-Woodall, and I'm an author, speaker, and your host. In these podcasts, I love to explore and contemplate different life issues and their solutions through the lens of God's wisdom and His words. In this 7th episode called Many Worlds, One Kingdom, I'm sharing what I believe was a direct word from God's Spirit. It's an insight about what He thinks of the worlds we create in our minds and our lives to live in. Will you join me in exploring this powerful word in regard to our worlds, our life, and find God's pathway instead? I've been pondering the words of Christ when He said, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also," in Matthew 6, verse 21. What about the worlds we create in our hearts and minds, which affect the way we think and live? We seek the so-called treasures of pleasure, reward, or self-importance in these worlds that we've mentally and emotionally created and participate in. Are what these worlds offering really the best treasures or rewards? What world are you choosing to live in daily? As I thought about these things one day, God's Spirit moved over me to write the following statements. And they felt like a download from another world. Pardon the pun. If you live in the world of the fear of man, there is constant mistrust, and it distorts everything you hear, and a constant emotional state of offense is your reward. If you live in the world of worry or dread, you will try to control everything or everyone around you, and you'll be in a constant, self-protective, relational retreat in life. That takes a lot of energy. If you live in the world of Cinderella, you will always be waiting for the handsome prince on a white horse to rescue you, when really only one man is coming back on a white horse. His name is Faithful and True. If you live in the world of addiction, you are running from the pain that is meant to draw you to the God who can comfort you and uses suffering in our fallen world to create a heart of compassion for others. Adversity breeds champions. If you live in the world of the victim, nothing ever turns out the way you choose, and the glass is always half empty. It is the enemy of deep personal change in character. If you live in the world of no absolutes, where there is no right or wrong, moral bankruptcy will be your companion. There will be no foundation called conviction, and integrity is sacrificed on the altar of self. If you live in the world of Adonis or Narcissus, you're avoiding imperfection at all costs, and it becomes all about you. Then a beautiful transformation is missed that can take place in the person within through God's loving care and guidance. If you live in the world of cheers, where everybody knows your name, then the friendships last only for the weekend, during the dark of night, or as long as you pursue a drunken lifestyle. What then is the end result? You overlook the one who sticks closer than a brother, and frankly, I'd rather be called a friend of God. If you live in the world of socialism, you're always a victim, and you want government or powerful men to be Robin Hood, taking from the rich to give to the poor, when Christ himself said, "You feed them." If you live in the world of the kingdom of God, forgiveness is its foundation. Love guards against any fear. Christ never fails you. Suffering produces endurance and compassion. You are an agent of change, not a victim. And there is great peace in knowing what is right and what is wrong and following those convictions. It's not all about you, so relax. You are called the friend of God, and you know the buck stops with you. Thank you for taking time to listen today. If this podcast would be an encouragement for someone you know who lives in a difficult world, please pass it on. Your comments are valued, and subscribing would also be deeply appreciated. In the next episode of Reflections, called My World, I'll share how God confronted me about the imaginary world that I had created for myself to live in. His confrontation caused me to step out of it permanently.